going on, YouTube? Dorito here, and today I'm here to assemble the Tao Motor T-Force 110cc midsize ATV. Now this thing's really cool. We like these midsize ATVs because they're real lightweight and fun to throw around. And overall, they run real good. They're pretty reliable. They climb, they do okay. This is just like the Tao Motor Cheetah as far as the drivetrain. It's got the 110cc engine, forward and reverse. It does have the foot brake for the rear and the handbrake for the front, as well as it does have the emergency shutoff. It does have the remote shutoff as well. And also too, it's disc brake in the rear, drum brake in the front. This is a really cool ATV. So, and I really like the new colors they're coming out with. You see this is the red with the powder coated frame as well and everything. Like I said, I really like this bike. It's very easy to assemble. As you guys can see, I already put the tires on the left-hand side because you don't see that. So basically with the assembly here is what you got is you put on the rear rack, you put on the rear tire, you put on the front tires, you put on the foot guard, you also put on the handlebars, and you put on the front rack. It's real basic, and we're going to get on that right now. So anyways, without any further ado, let's get on with it. Luch?
Does this angle make my Luch mob look big?
All right, guys, we're back. And we're going to start off from the front side and work our way around to the back and then get the handlebars on. Okay, so first you want to start off with the front rack, which is real basic. You got a 10mm bolt. You got two 10mm bolts on the frame up top and two 13mm bolts. Now, I went ahead in advance and I put some Loctite on those bolts because they do go into the frame and there isn't any lock washer or anything like that. So you do want to use some Loctite on some of these, and you want to use the blue Loctite. If you look at the bolt and it doesn't have a lock washer or a castle nut on it, then you want to use some Loctite on it, okay? So anyways, we're going to go ahead and get this front end on there. Now, what you want to do is you want to go ahead and fit your piece on here in the front, okay? And once you get it on in the front, you want to take and you just want to get your bolts, get your 13mm on one side, and you want to hand tight it in, get it in a few turns. Like Bill said in the other video, you want to make a few turns before you go wrenching down on it to make sure all your threads are straight and flush, okay? So let's get those on here. Let's go ahead and lift this guy up here because this is going to go up there. Then we're going to put our 10mm bolt in, which this will be a little fun. Get our 10mm there. Now you want to I'm just using the cordless gun here to get everything tightened down real fast. You're going to want to go out over after your first ride, and you're going to want to snug it in, okay? And make sure to use some blue Loctite when you put this front bumper on, okay? So now we're on to the front tire. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put the front caliper on, and I took some pictures, and I'll be putting them up on a picture-on-picture there for you. That'll show you how this caliper goes on. You slide it in, and there's a little lining with a little slot here. And you're going to put that slot in and make sure everything goes in perfect there, okay? Now that's already locked in. Now it's time to get on the tires. So let's get on with that. All right, guys, we're back. And actually, I forgot. Bucket reminded me. Thank you, Bucket, by the way. Bucket reminded me that I forgot to show you guys how to put on the tie rod. Or the steering rod. So what we're going to do is we're going to do that right now. I did take some pictures, and I'll show you guys up on the picture-in-picture so you can get a better view of it, how I actually did it. And what you're doing is you're just taking your steering rod, and you're putting the bushing and the bolt down into your A-arm here, into your steering assembly. Okay, and what you got is you got a little lock washer and you got a castle nut. And you're going to put that lock washer on there. You're going to put that castle nut, and you're just going to snug that all the way up. Now that is a, I believe, let me see here. That is a 17 millimeter nut there. So you're going to tighten that up a little bit, and you're going to put the castle nut on. Okay, so I'm going to get that snugged up real quick and get the cotter pin as well, which is right here. I'm going to get the cotter pin as well, and I'm going to put that in, okay? So once that's done, we'll go ahead and get right back to you guys, okay?
I got a question for you. Why is it called a hernia when it's on him, but a hysterectomy when it's on her? Can somebody explain that?
Okay, now that we got the steering rod on there, the steering assembly together, now we got to put on the brakes. So what I did was I took some pictures. There's a little slot back here, and you have to slide that in and lock that in perfect. Once you got that in, it's good to go and you're ready to put the front wheel on, okay? Like I said, I took a picture of how that's supposed to sit, and I'll put it up in the picture over there, okay? So once you do that, you want to get your front wheel on. Now, with the front wheel, you have to slide it around the brake assembly, okay? So that might take a little bit of work. And then again, in my case, it might not take much at all. So we got that on. That's real smooth. Hey, I'm having no issues here. Okay, so now that we got that on, you want to get your flat washer and your castle nut for that. And you want to put your flat washer on and your castle nut, okay? Now you don't need anything for that. You're just going to tighten that down there, and you're going to tighten down that castle nut, okay? Once you get the castle nut tightened down, you're going to go ahead and slide your Mr. Cotter pin on in there. Okay, once you've got your cotter pin on, all you do is you slap on your rubber wheel dust cover there, and that front wheel is good to go. Now we're going to go ahead and get onto the front footrest, or to the footrest, and we'll slap that on. Now, Tao Motors has come a long ways. They've been putting all the separate bolts for like your rack, for your footrest, for your rear rack, for your handlebars. They've been bagging the stuff up separately. And that's one thing I've noticed this year. Good job, Tao. Thank you, guys. We appreciate that, Tao Motors. All right. So let's get on to the footrest. Now, the footrest is real basic. You got a total of, I believe it's 8 bolts. And they're Allen head bolts and a 8 millimeter nut on the other end. So it's real easy. You can use your cordless screw gun and get that done with ease, okay? So what we're going to do is I'm going to get the footrest set in here, and it sets in pretty basic. You're just going to go ahead and drop it on in there and line everything up. And what you're going to do is you're going to go through and you're going to put in every bolt. But how you're going to do this is you have a nut, a washer, a rubber washer as well, and the head. So what you're going to do is for all 6 of those top bolts, those come with a rubber grommet. You're going to take and you're going to put the plastic there, and you're going to put in the rubber grommet. You're going to take the washer and you're going to put the washer behind there, and you're going to tighten that in, okay? There you go. Okay, so like I said, you have 6 of the Allen head nut and bolts that are screws and bolts or nuts that go up here, and then you have 2 of the Allen head screws with a nut that goes down here on the bottom, okay? So I'm going to slap those in right now, and then we'll get back onto the back tire, okay? Okay, guys, now that we've gotten on the footrest, which, like I said, was real basic, you just got to be careful when you tighten down these Allen button heads that there's that rubber grommet underneath on the exterior part. You use that to snug up the bolt. When you're tightening it down, it snugs it up. And you don't want to put it too tight, because what it'll do is pinch it and push it in, okay? So just tighten those down. Use your, hand, tighten them down with an Allen wrench. You'll feel how tight you want it, and leave it at that point, okay? So now we're onto the rear wheel, and that's self-explanatory, okay? You want to make sure, and you have your tires, that they're running in the proper direction. In other words, the arrows are pointing this way for forward, okay? So once you get that on, slides onto the spindle here, put that on real easy. reach over here to bucket. There's your bucket. And what you're going to do is, this one's a little bit different. This one has a flat washer, it has a lock washer, and it has a castle nut. Okay? Now, there is a cotter pin as well, too. And once we get that tightened down, we'll put in the cotter pin and get that situated. Okay? Now, once you get that done, you want to get your cotter pin. Put your Mr. Cotter pin in there. Bend it around. Give it a little tap. And then put your rubber wheel cover on, okay? So once you get your rubber wheel cover on, you're going to go ahead and go onto your back rack. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to lower this down so we can go ahead and get the lift out of the way and I can get that back rack on, okay?
Welcome back, people. Dr. Luch here, PhD, coming at you with your new home proctology kit. People, this can solve a lot of your problems. Yes, I'm talking to you, Steve.
All right, guys, we're back. And we got it down off the lift, and now it's time to go ahead and put on the back rack. And this is real basic. Unlike the Cheetah, you have to unbolt the exhaust to get the rack onto there. With this one, the exhaust is bolted to the frame as well, but you don't have to remove the bolt there. It's got the 4 bolt ups for the back mount, okay? So what those consist of, and it came in a bag, as you guys can see, is 4 10mm bolts with 4 13mm nuts, okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to get those lined up. You're going to see it's real easy. You get it lined up there, 4 simple bolts, okay? So there's one. There's 2. Okay. What you're going to want to do is you're going to want to get those nuts on so you can hold it into place. And you're just going to want to hand tighten them. It's real easy. So then you can get the other bolts in there, okay? All right. Now what you want to do is you want to get your ratchet and you want to snug everything up a little bit tighter to make sure you got everything good to go on there, okay? All right, got those tight. Now it's on to the top part of the rack, which again, all the bolts are bagged up that you need for that, okay? I'm really impressed with that, people. Before, you used to have to dig for bolts when you built all these different brands. It wasn't just Tao Motors. It was every single different brand. And this is for the most part, the first year that I've seen they bagged up every bolt separately. Okay, not that the bolts weren't ever bagged up, but they're bagging them up separately. Like for the front rack, you had it separate in a bag. For the front bumper, you had it separate. For the bottom part of the rack, you had it separate, as well as the top part of the rack. So it's really all becoming pretty self-explanatory when it comes to these, and that to me is awesome. Okay, so let's see here. So that's real easy there. You're going to go ahead and slap it up. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. 4 bolts. And you don't need to Loctite these either. This has nylock nuts on it, on the bolts, on the nuts, so there's no worries there. All right. Okay, so now once you've tightened that all up, you got to go onto the handlebars and put in the battery and add some gas. So it looks like we're on the downhill slide, folks. So I'm going to get over to the bars, get those on, and we'll get right back to you. Okay?
These blades will kill.
Okay, guys. Now we're onto the handlebars, and the handlebars are really easy. You have your handlebar mounts, your pillars, and you have 4 Allen head bolts. Okay. So what you want to do is you want to make sure and you have all your controls, your throttle, your brake, everything to the front of your bars, okay, before you do that. So we got that set up like that. And what you want to do then is you want to take a set of your pillars and one of your Allen bolts, and you want to get that on there, okay? So these are fairly easy. So what we do is we're going to get it pinched there, get one bolt through, and line it up onto the thread and give it a little tighten down by hand, okay? Once we got that one started, we want to take the other side and do the same exact thing. All right? Let's get that guy on there and get it in its perspective spot. There we go. Got that one on. Now we'll go to the other side, do the same exact thing. Easier if you kind of keep the bars forward to go ahead and set things in if you're doing it by yourself. If you got somebody helping you, hey, it's even easier. Okay? Let's get one started here, then bring it on over. Okay. Got that started. Now, again, I'm going to use my cordless screw gun to snug them up, but I am going to tighten them by hand with an Allen wrench, okay? So, you get your cordless, line your bars up, just slowly tighten down, okay? And you want to do it evenly, just like, picture like you're changing a tire, you know, you want to go in that pattern where you're going back and forth when you first get it in. Okay. All right, so we got the bars on. Let's take this plastic off there. We got the bars on, we got the racks on, we got the tires on, we got the side steps on, the footrests, we got the back rack on. All we have to do now is connect the battery and put some gas in it, and I'll go ahead and do that right now. You guys have seen us connect the batteries a million times. You got the positive to the negative and the negative to the positive, which is the black to the black and the red to the red. It's real simple there. I'll get some gas in it. We'll get right back to you guys. I'm also going to completely snug up the bars and adjust them to my preference. And we'll get this thing started so you guys can check it out. All right, guys. I got the battery connected, positive to negative, and I put some gas in it. One last thing that I didn't do that I wanted to show you guys is you got your gear indicator. Real easy. That goes up there and just slides right in and pops on, okay? Just like that. There you go. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go ahead and give this thing a start. Nice and quiet. Got headlights, got a brake light, got a tail light. You know, this thing does have the lanyard that pulls on off and shuts off there, as well as it has the remote shut off as well too. So if they're cruising out there and they're getting out of hand, you just hit that remote button and shut it off. Okay, before I get too much smoke in the garage, I had to shut it off there. So there you have it. There's the Tao Motor T-Force 110cc mid-size ATV. I really like these. The guys really like these. They're lightweight. They're fun to throw around. They're comfortable to ride as well too. Although they're meant for teens and kids over 12, we really have a lot of fun with these. So, you know, as you guys see, starts right up. It's real quiet. Unfortunately, with the rain, I can't take it out and ride it right now, but we will be doing a ride and review with George Voodoo on it. And I'd like to thank Tao Motors for giving us the opportunity to go ahead and ride these things and assemble them and check them out for you guys and bring them to you. As you see, it's real simple to assemble. Everything comes all bagged up. You know, the bolts for the racks, everything's separately bagged up. They've really gone a long way this year, and I'm more than happy to assemble other ones and check them out because it's really getting a lot more user-friendly. So I want to thank you guys for watching, and I want to thank Tao Motors again for giving us the opportunity. Don't forget to come back to the Luch Mob. Peace.
Get your motor running. Head on the highway. Looking for adventure. If it ever goes on.